Heart disease and stroke touches each of us in some way. No one knows this better than Dyan Haugen, a happy, healthy young woman who got hit with both. This is her story.
Hi, my story starts in my early 40s. I was having a conversation with my son, my stepson, and I lost the ability to speak. I was speaking to him and I thought it was normal, and I completely lost the ability. Garbled syllables were coming out, and my brain, I knew what I was trying to say, but nothing was coming out right. He looked at me like I was crazy, and I just sort of overlooked it. I went and laid down for a while, and I thought nothing of it, actually. The next day, I was at a meeting at my son's elementary school. We were planning the Halloween happening. I was sitting there with a group of 10, 12 women, and I again lost the ability to speak. Again, garbled syllables were coming out. My brain was working fine. I knew what I was trying to say, but it wasn't coming out. It lasted for 10, 12 minutes. The women at the table were looking at me like I was on drugs, and I was really, really embarrassed. After probably 15 minutes, I could finally speak again, and the woman sitting next to me said, "You know, you really ought to see a doctor." And I said, "Really?" And still at this point, I had no idea what was going on, and I just thought I really didn't know. But I did call the doctor on the way home then and went in, and they said I was having migraine headaches. There's no history of migraine in my family. I'd never had a migraine headache. I said, okay. I went home. I had another episode, another attack the next day. Went back to the doctor. Finally, I caught their attention and I said, I don't think this is migraines. I don't have headaches. So they started running tests. It took probably, I think it was probably a month later, after many, many, many tests. And I think because I'm a woman, they didn't look for heart stuff. They were looking for migraine headaches. They were looking for neurological problems. Everything but what I was experiencing. Finally, their last-ditch effort was to see if there was something wrong with my heart. And they did a transesophageal echocardiogram where they could go in down my esophagus with a scope, and they found that there was a hole in my heart. So and in the meantime, they put me on Coumadin, which is a blood thinner, and it's not something you want to be on starting at 40 for the rest of your life. You can't get pregnant while you're on it, and I was considering having another child at the time. You have to watch what you eat. You have to get blood tests all the time to make sure your blood is staying thin. And if you get in a car accident or something, you risk bleeding out and dying because you can't clot. So that was not a real good thing. So after the test, they found the hole, and overall, what I found out was that I had been hit with both stroke and heart disease. I had the 3 mini strokes. I did not have permanent damage, except my memory isn't the best, but because of the age, I don't know. But stroke and then heart disease with this hole in my heart. The options were to stay on Coumadin, which they didn't recommend for the long term. It's just, starting at 40 is just not a good drug. There were some experimental things that they were doing to go in, not opening you up, but going in through your femoral artery to block the hole, or to just go in, do open heart surgery and repair the hole, which is what the doctor recommended and which is what I did. So I stayed on Coumadin for about a year because I wanted to make sure that I didn't have any other strokes or migraine headaches, I guess. And then with the Coumadin, I didn't clot, so I never had another stroke during that year. I had the open heart surgery. They opened me up, repaired the hole, closed me up. I was the only young female in the cardiac unit. I was in the hospital for about a week. It was terribly scary. There was some comic relief. I do all our finances for our family. And before I went into the hospital, I made a list of all my codes and passwords for all our accounts and my email and everything. I gave it to my husband before I went into surgery. And when I woke up from surgery, the first thing I said was, "You could tear up a piece of paper now." So, kind of funny. Anyway, so that's my story. Stroke and heart disease, it can happen to anyone. It can happen to young women. We don't look for the signs. I learned that I need to know the signs of stroke and heart disease, and I hope any woman out there, anyone, male or female, knows the signs, because had I recognized it right away, I would have saved a lot of misery and frustration and worry. I fully support the Heart Ball and the American Heart Association. I think everyone else should. If you could give some money to help support the organization, we'd appreciate it. Whether it's $5 or $500, every penny helps, research and again these things. You can go to www.phoenixhearthall.org and sign up and help us with the fight and learn signs of stroke and heart disease. Thanks.